the light is near. Bring your question, leave your fear. With angel spirit signs and soul, the unseen world begins to glow. Loved ones, guides, and truth come through. Tonight the message may be for you. Ask the angel. Open your heart tonight. Ask the angel. Step into the light. Now welcoming Reverend Rachel Corpus. This is Ask the Angel.
Our friends, welcome back to Ask the Angel. I'm so excited for tonight because we get to talk about quantum leaping. Have you ever thought about that concept before, how to quantum leap? You're probably saying, no, Rachel, we don't think about that weird stuff like you do, but I encourage you to, because we're here on this earth to do all the things, whether it's something as mundane as eating a gas station hot dog. Actually, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. Don't do that. Erase. Don't eat a gas station hot dog. That's probably bad for your body. But, you know, all those things that belong to earth, and then all the wondrous things that we kind of forget about once we're here. We absolutely forget about them once we're here, like how we're connected to Source. And when I say that we're connected to Source, you might hear that, well, you're going to hear that in the way that you hear it. But I'm going to say from me, I'm not saying that in a religious way. I am a very religious person because that's the way I was raised. I don't go to church regularly anymore, even though that I've gone to seminary. I am a pastor. That's very near and dear to my heart. There's a lot about the church construct that doesn't fit me anymore. And I have learned, and this is just me, doesn't have to be you. I've learned that there's a lot about the religious God that was created by man. Maybe all of it was created by man. And that surrounding that, there is a bigger loving God that I will refer to as Source. Well, if we all came from that source, well, certainly we have all of the tools and all of the abilities that are part of Source. And then when we come here on Earth, when we incarnate here on Earth, and possibly other planets, if you can, stretch your imagination. Have you been on other planets? I think you have. Well, then part of our coming here is we pop into this body and we have amnesia. Why? We could go back and forth about that for a long time. But I'll say the benefit of having amnesia is throughout your life, you get to remember your divinity. You get to remember as this precious gift, oh my gosh, I am connected to Source. And you get to define it for you, not the way your parents did, or your grandparents, or your teachers, or the media. You get to live into that definition. You get your autonomy back. So one of those things that's connected to Source is quantum leaping. We're going to define it today, and we're going to talk about how to do it. Because yes, you can. Weird and wonderful. But first, let's get a few messages from the angels. By the way, speaking of messages, if you are wanting to call in and talk to the angels through me, you're welcome to. And that number is 888-627-6008. I'm going to pull a card and then take one of our first callers. Here we go. And this deck happens to be by Denise Lynn. I'm going to show it to you. This is Soul Coaching Oracle cards, what your soul wants you to know. Just really love this deck because it has a nice weight in the hands. It's easy to move through the hands. And you may have heard me talk about Oracle before. This is different than Tarot. I love both. I don't know much about Tarot because I have not studied it. I do know that Tarot has very specific layouts. And if you're wanting to learn Tarot, I have someone very special in my life named Randall Blackman who teaches Tarot, so you can reach out to me and I could help connect you to him. But I know Oracle, and I know Oracle to be very conversational with spirit, and I'm sure Tarot can be as well. But I'm speaking about Oracle because that's what I feel that I'm an expert on. So what I do is I just move the cards in my hands, and my intention is, angels, what would you like us to know? And I'm just waiting for that one card to kind of pop out and say, hey, it's me, pull me, I'm ready. And I'm going to go with this one because even though I just organized this deck, it happens to be upside down, and it's pleasure. My life is deliciously joyous. And I want to say to this card, really? Is it? And my angels say, yes, it is. It is if you choose that perspective. And I want to share something from the angels about this card. Let me show it to you first because it's just yummy and beautiful. Look at that beautiful artwork. And the words are, my life is deliciously joyous. And let's just compliment this deck because it has the message right on the card. I also really love that. So accessible. What I'm hearing the angels say is, no matter what we're experiencing, we have this opportunity to say, yes, thank you. Okay, I will accept. Now, it doesn't mean that you are becoming a victim to whatever's happening to you. It does not mean that you are bypassing anything. It means that you are saying yes to being a student of this earth, a participant of this earth. And when you fully engage in this mission, in this field trip that you call life, well, then whatever is happening, that joy frequency, that vibe of frequency of joy, or whatever you're longing for, maybe it's love, maybe it's peace, it can start to show up because it's always there, always there. All frequencies exist at the same time, but you're playing around in a spectrum. So you're feeling whatever frequency you're paying attention to at that time. So I'm going to give you an example. On my, let's say Mother's Day for me for a lot of years, I'm over-mothered. I thought, well, this is Mother's Day. I've got to get dressed up and I've got to look, my kids have to look great and we're going to go have brunch and this is it. And I worked really hard on Mother's Day. So stupid. But on Mother's Day, instead of going into the frequency of, oh, this is a day to celebrate Mama Earth, the celebration of the birth of my children, and to just be in love, with the relationships of the people that chose me as their mama. Instead, I was just a maniac, stress maniac. So I was not able to click into the vibration of what that day could be for me. So flip it a few years, Rachel grows a little bit. And so now on Mother's Day, I just totally go neutral, no expectations. And the only thing that I want that day, if it can happen, is I just want to have peace. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, but I'm no longer managing that day. And so if I can go into a day like that, which is fueled with expectations all around this, our culture, I would say, just like any holiday is, well, then I can rise out of that frequency. I can hover above it like I'm on my own spiritual hoverboard, right? I'm above it. And then I have access to all those frequencies and they have access to me. Can we start remembering that frequencies are like their own personality too? And what if they miss us and they're like, girl, we haven't felt joyous in a while. I miss you. I miss you. It's a good message, right? Okay, one more from the other deck. We used this one last time. This is the Kyle Gray deck. I love this one. This is going to be great for our first caller, actually, because I know our first caller and she is wonderful. And this deck really fits her. So this is Angels and Ancestors. You might think that everybody who calls in this show knows me, but this is a new show. And so for a while, it might just be people that know me. But as the show expands, call in, my loves. I want to know all of you. All right, here's a card. Oh, it's the Stag. Trust and thrive. Lotus, this is for you. trust and thrive, and we'll talk in just a second. And as all oracle cards are, all angel messages, it's for all of us. It's for one person and it's for all of us at the same time. Because angels are not limited to time and space. Neither are we. We think we are. This is going to be great for our quantum leaping conversation, isn't it? We think that we're stationary. We're stopped in one place. We're not. So, like the stag can be very poised and listening, watching for whatever he needs to do in that moment. But also, what he's doing in that moment is he's trusting the elements, he's trusting his family, and he's making a choice. Am I leaning into survival or am I thriving? And the stag shows us that when we're here on Earth, that is something that we chose to navigate. We're going onto a planet that has the frequency of survival and some lower frequencies. This Earth will always have low frequencies, not because it's bad, but because we made it that way. This is our classroom space. Do we have some cleaning up to do? Amen, yes. However, Earth in its best form will always have lower frequencies because we come here to expand. So when we pull the stag card, it tells us, be mindful of where you are standing. You're right in the center of your ownership. You're right in the center of your ownership, your sovereignty. You have both feet in trust and thriving. It may seem like it's survival, but darling, it's not. Survival is around you. People are trying to survive around you. So there is that feeling of, we'll be able to pay. Can we pay for this? Will this work out? But that is a vibration around you from other people, of course, and it will remind us of ourselves because we've all been in those phases of our lives, but it doesn't have to be part of our story. We can be mindful of it and say, yes, thank you. Yes, thanks for letting me see that. Now, where am I? Oh, I'm standing strong like the stag. I am trusting and I'm thriving. Even though the survival energy is around me, a predator at any time, weather coming in, I'm strong. And with that, I'd love to talk to Lotus. Come on in, Lotus. Hi, sister.
Hi, Rachel. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm better now to hear your voice. Hi.
I
can I help
love
you?
today's topic.
Me too.
So
Cheers.
I had a question. I am curious. I am currently in the process of quantum leaping to different timelines. Since I last spoke with you, so much has advanced. And I feel like, as you know, there's a whole party associated with what's to come with the next leap in our future. And I feel like everybody is on board now. And the universe is just bringing everything that we need for our next experience in life, our new location. And I was curious if there are any suggestions on how to leap into the timeline in which I continuously see this beautiful home with floor to ceiling wall that outlook trees just hugging our new home in the mountains.
Yes. Okay. May I share a little bit about, and you can too, about what you're doing?
Absolutely.
Now, from my perspective, what I'd like to share first is that, Lotus, you're one of the people that you and your family and your chosen family as well. You have a community that's going to be with you as well. I consider you, when I look at you, you're kind of like 3 chapters ahead of us because you're doing the thing where you're stepping out of what I hear the angels calling the mapped grid, what's already here. You're stepping out of it and you're recreating something. And it feels brave to me And yet when you talk about it, you're so peaceful. So you're recreating how to live. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. So this is my last lifetime on planet Earth in a human form.
Mhm.
So I have every intention to have an incredible experience, and life has just been a really wonderful experience for me, many different experiences in this lifetime. And right now, what I'm doing is I'm revisiting a heart's wish that I had when I was a young 18, 19-year-old girl living in New England, going to college out there. That one day I may have a family, and I would like us to live there back in New England. So that's actually happening. This is all happening. And I've been very much so kind of deleting things out of my current system that are not aligned with my heart's desire. So if
Like
something
what?
comes up, I will. Well, I'll give you an example. So, my husband is very earth centered at times and can be very much a stick in the mud.
Mhm.
And I just said to the universe, bring me the version of my husband that is ready to go to New England and is ready for an adventure. And it responds. And it responds very quickly, and everything unfolds the way he needs it to unfold for him to reach that level of inspiration and risk taking. We can call it risk taking in the Matrix words,
Mhm.
but really it's a sense of adventure under the next scene. So when he is inspired and he's at that frequency and I'm at that frequency, we're able to make all this magic happen, which is happening right now. So
Mhm.
I just kind of request that certain versions of the players in my life um, come in to be aligned with my dreams. That's what I'm doing at this time.
Wow. Okay. So, because I visualize with your guides, I see you on land with trees that know you. And I don't feel vulnerable saying that. After knowing people like you, I understand that trees know us and trees communicate with us. And there are trees there that are family with you, and you're recreating a way to live there that is sustainable and spirit led. So here's how I'd like to help today. What I'm hearing, we're going to go through some processes today about how to quantum leap, and I believe that's going to help because you are a natural teacher and so am I. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask your angels to kind of go into my brain a little bit and modify how I share this so it matches your style. So keep listening, and then they'll give you some processes with me, with us on how to do it. Okay. So that's how we'll handle it. But I want to tell you, even though you know that this is your whole, all this unfolding, your progress and this, how you're mapping this out is not going to be without challenges. I want to tell you that they said you're mapping these challenges in for your family as well, because if there weren't challenges along the way, if it came too easy, there would be something about that wasn't right. What do you make of that? If it didn't have challenges and it came too easy, it wouldn't feel right. Do you know what they mean by that?
Yes, it wouldn't be fun if it all came too easy and we just pushed a button and we are like,
Okay.
we're here, right? It wouldn't be fun because part of the fun is not knowing and being surprised and overcoming challenges. It's like a game. When you play a game, it wouldn't be fun if you didn't have those challenges, right?
Right. Well, that's interesting that they said that. And I love your response, because how many times do we just say, okay, come on, universe, just give it to me. Come on. I just want it. When I wake up, I just want it. Give it to me. They're noting that the process is important. And the rise and fall of it is part of the, and like you said, part of the fun. I love that perspective. Love it. Okay, sister, I'm going to say goodbye to this call because as you listen, we're going to get guidance from them on how to do it.
Wonderful.
Also, you know
Thank
where
you
to
so
find
much.
me. Yeah, you know where to find me.
Yes.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye. Okay. This is going to be great. I also want to add from our viewer, Nadine. She also asked that she said she's been astral traveling all of her life. And I reached out to get some clarity on that. And her version of astral traveling was, she says that when she was little, she would move out of her body easily when she was dreaming and then kind of slam back into it, and it scared her. But when she got old enough, she learned how to do it through meditation. So if that interests you or you want to know more about astral travel, we can talk about that in another episode, but that's how she defined it for herself. And then she asked, how can she begin to quantum leap? I asked her, what did that mean to her? And she says, I want to know how to change my reality and pull in different timelines, like merge them together. So I'm going to offer Nadine's question, her ideas as well as we combine with Lotus. So let's get into that magic, shall we? Quantum leaping. Remember that show with Scott Bakula? Have you guys watched that show? It must have been in the 80s, and now there's a reboot on Netflix that I haven't watched, but I used to love that show. And the idea of the show was that Scott Bakula, I think he was a scientist, and then something went wrong, and he kept waking up in someone else's body. And he'd look in the mirror, and he'd be in this other body until he figured out they had unfinished business or something, until he fixed them. And then the hope was the next time he woke up, he'd be back home with his family. And that was the season after season of Quantum Leap. And so whenever we see something in the media, it's disclosure. We know that now. We know that. So they're blending fiction and reality to open us up. So we realize, oh, okay, we actually can do that. But then why can't we? Why can't we just do that? Well, I like what Lotus said. I like how, there's these ups and downs of it, and it's part of the process. It makes it fun. We came here to, I hate the word struggle, but you know what? It's part of our texture here. You want to have texture. You don't want to have a meal that's all like pudding texture. No, you need some crunchiness in there. You need something to chew on. You need some conflict in there. And as we grow, that conflict doesn't feel unnecessary. It gives you context. It gives you wisdom. So quantum leaping, it also has its own rules. Let's be Bill Nye the Science Guy for a second. And I'm going to look at my notes about this because I am actually very good at science. And also the ego part of me, little Rachel, has experience in school being told she's not smart. So for those of you healing that, I hear you. Also, you are very smart. And one of the ways that I heal that is I keep notes with me of things that I've researched and that I've channeled. So you'll see me looking down sometimes. So I apologize. You see my eyelids, but I did do my makeup. See? Cute, huh? All right. So you can see my eyeshadow as I look down at my notes. All right. So let's talk about the tiny particles we call electrons, okay? This isn't going to be sciencey for long. Stay with me. And this is cool stuff. So electrons, as you know, are so tiny, we can't really see them, not even with microscopes. We're getting better at it, right? They live around the center of an atom, but they don't move around like planets orbiting the sun. They have their own behavior. Instead, electrons can only have certain amounts of energy, almost like standing on different steps of a ladder. So let's just imagine, let's animate this in our minds. Picture the ladder if you can. The little electrons, here we are, like little minions, okay? Let's make it fun. When an electron gets extra energy, it can jump to a higher step. When it loses energy, what do you think it does? goes back down. Here's the surprising part. Scientists have found that an electron doesn't seem to travel through all the space in between. So here's the step. The little electron doesn't have to go to all the space in between. It can just arrive from one step to the other. That's why it's called a quantum leap. Scott Bakula did that somehow in the show. No one sees it flying from one step to the next. It simply changes from one allowed energy level to another. It could even go all the way up to the top. Why does it work? Well, scientists believe that electrons work with particles and waves. And it's kind of, think of it like when you're playing a guitar, where it's all vibration. It's all vibration, my friends. Hint, you're all vibration. You're made of vibration. You're made of water and vibration. You could also think of this same idea. I like to think of it like as a little frog on lily pads, about a pond full of lily pads, and your electron is a little frog. And sometimes the frog just goes to another lily pad, but once in a while, like, where did that frog go? Well, that little shit is all the way across the pond. How did you get there? Quantum leaped, leapt, larked. I don't know how to conjugate that. All right, well, why does it get so hard when we want to do it? Well, we're made a little bit different. When you think about how a person is made, you can think of us more like a whole bunch of Legos. We're made like a Lego castle. And those Legos are millions and trillions really, of tiny cells and even tinier atoms. So when I ask the angels to animate this for me, and I'm looking at the hologram above me, okay, in my upsight vision, all of these atoms seem to have kind of their own attitudes, their own perspectives, their own kind of consciousness. And they said to get all of these tiny particles, all of these electrons to leap at once is like herding cats. It's impossible. So if we look at the frog, it wasn't really a frog, it's an electron, right? That's one electron. Can go from lily pad to lily pad or stair step to stair step. But you're made of so many, and each one of those little doobly-doobly-dooblies has its own little mood. She wants to go shopping. She wants to take a nap. She wants to read a book. Well, how do you get all of these, right? And I'm personifying them because it's easier, but you have all of these electrons and they're zhuzhing in their own, and you're made of this beautiful tower. You're this god or goddess of all these electrons, all these particles. To get them all behaving in one direction or with one mindset or one vibration to go from one place to the other, is it impossible? Well, old science says yes. But I'm going to say no, because the angels said, no, we can do it. We can do it. Yeah, we can. Because there are rules. First of all, we have rules of science. Here are some rules. Tiny things can act like little balls and little waves. So like electrons can change their form. Tiny things can have certain amounts of energy. They can expand. But here are the rules that really kind of light me up. We can't know everything at once. Tiny things are full of possibility, and tiny things can be connected. So all those electrons in your body, all those particles, they can have certain amounts of energy, pump them up. We can't know everything at once. So this particle over here doesn't have to be in charge. You could be in charge and flow. You can tell your whole particle body, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. If you can do this on purpose, and we're going to practice it in a few minutes, if you can do it on purpose and get all these particles on board, that's a different story. Tiny things are full of possibility. Every parent in the world knows this. Tiny things are full of possibility. Tiny things can become connected. Why is that important? Because it's our mission here. We came here to pretend like we're separated, all of us, but we're actually connected. That's living in our body right now. The particles in our body, they are behaving like they're separate, blah, 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 blah. But if we can reunite them and say, hey, you're actually connected, fools, we can quantum leap. So there's two sets of rules here. There's the science rules, and science says, no way, you can't quantum travel. But in spirituality and mysticism, even in quantum mysticism, quantum mechanics, we have our own set of rules. We have the universal laws. So we have law of attraction, we have law of change. We can get into those laws. Will we start to blend science and magic together? That doesn't belong in a fiction book. No, because they weren't separate before. An old term for magic, energy. Science and energy were not separated before, and we are reuniting them. So that first set of rules, or that first big idea, we can't quantum leap. What if it's outdated? What if we reunite the current thing that's coming back into our consciousness? Oh, there's things happening here. We're growing, we're enlightening, we're awakening. What if we bring that into not just here, but into our whole body, and we get everything on board, every particle on board? Conceptually, we should be able to quantum leap. So how do we do it? Well, let's F around and find out. This is what I played with to prep for this. Here we go. Now, you are a walking memory of everything in the universe, everything in the galaxy. You hold it with the water that's in your body. So one of the things that they showed me was to utilize water to quantum leap. I need to write myself a note. Hold on, you guys. To leap, create. Got it, thank you. I'll go back to it, thank you. They said, work with the water in your body, because the water in your body is the same water that is on every other planet, in the ocean, the water of source. It's the same, it's all connected. There is no disconnection between this water and the water that you have in you as you watch this, the water that's in my body. But the water has forgotten. Every time we incarnate, and we have had something told to us, like we are not good enough, or we need to go out in the hall and wait for the rest of the class, or we're not invited to the party, or we are not smart enough. Anytime we are separated, or anytime our body has an illness and it has been told it is not safe enough to heal, or it needs something to heal, like you cannot heal without this, separation happens. And so our own body's relationship with water has changed. Water has also forgotten that, I'm going to say she holds this wisdom, and she's beginning to remember again. This is significant for our use in AI in this country, because as AI, all these data centers are being created. Those data centers can only go back to the memory of computers. But once they start to engage with water, the world is going to change. I'm not going to say positively or negatively. I'm just going to say everything's going to change, because this is our database. For you, what you can do to quantum leap, they said, it's what they had me write down. Fundamentally, you as a person, get used to your baseline. Find your vibrational baseline. get all of those electrons united as one feeling. You're like a marching band inside. All of those players are doing their own thing. Tune them up. Get them going as one being, and that one being is you. You and source is you. And you can do it with water because the water remembers for you and with you every single time you have felt connected, not disconnected. Of course, she remembers that as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to say to the water, hey there, girl, however you want to talk to water, beloved, help me and help my body remember that I am connected. Tell every cell in my body that it is united in, and then you must choose a frequency that is accessible to you. Now, this is what I mean by that. I need to choose, I'm speaking for myself now, I like to choose something like peace. If I choose happiness, that word for me is always evolving. I don't always know what it means, but I know what peace means because I know what it feels like in my body. I've defined it. So I'm going to say to this water, as I drink you, tell every particle in my body that we are now resonating at the vibration of peace. And you can use your words. It's the intention that matters, okay? Then you take a drink. What you've done here, oh, that's so good. I swear it tastes different. That's so weird. I swear my water tastes different after I did that. That is so bizarre. Thank you. So what you're doing here is you are calling in part of your body because this water, they say, is not separate from us. This water holds memory of the whole universe. So use water as your tool. What we heard the angels say here is that we get to create or remember our baseline. What is your baseline that you're getting all of your electrons to? Because inside you, they're all doing their own thing, bebopping around. Remember, they use the image of like a marching band. They're all doing their own thing. Tune them up. Get them ready. Get them in order. Be nice about it. Be gentle. But be the boss. And water's one of those tools. How do you want to get into your body? Well, this is one of the ways. So talk to the water. This is like you sending a memo to every employee that's in your body. Okay? So let's practice that one more time. You're going to get some water. You're going to say to the water, beloved, thank you. And as I drink you, please send this message to every particle in my body. We are now going to resonate at the frequency of peace. Now, this part of the process, this is you correcting the plane, correcting your version of the matrix, because this is where you are traveling from and where you're arriving. This is you. When you quantum leap, you may be going to places that look different, that smell different, but it's still part of you. So you must begin to feel who you are. You've got to start to feel your baseline, they said. This is the first key to quantum leaping. It's tempting, very tempting to say, okay, I want to quantum leap into this future. So I'm going to feel the future as much as I can in as much detail. I'm going to manifest that. I want to quantum leap into my vacation in Venice. All right, so I'm going to imagine Venice as much as I can. That's old-fashioned manifesting. That's not what this is. This is different. This is different. This is you remembering who you are, your divine frequency first, because that's never going to change wherever you leap. That's first and foremost. And water is a tool for you to send that message to the rest of your body. Another tool you can use is the sound of your voice, sound resonance. And I was practicing this before. It came through as light language. It also came through as singing. I'm just going to do a little demonstrating right here. I was just meditating and I was saying kind of the same language that I was saying with the water, but I said to my body, I'm going to let the sound of my voice call attention to all the particles in my body. And what I want them to know is that they are safe and that we are at peace and we're getting ready to do something amazing. I said something like that. And then I just heard myself, almost like when I used to be an opera singer, I heard myself almost doing warm-ups. I started to go, and the E vowel, I could feel it in my sinuses. Sing something that you can really feel vibrate. And it went low in my voice, kind of like this voice. If you call one of those lines, hello, everybody. Feel it down low and feel it up here. Sing, and you could sing a song. You Are My Sunshine. You could sing a hymn. You could sing the Beach Boys, whatever aligns with you. If you don't want to sing, play a stringed instrument because you resonate like a stringed instrument, or play an instrument that you love, connect with it. But if you play an instrument, you've got to treat that instrument like it's an extension of your body. And many of you are good at doing that. I can feel it. But remember, one of our key elements here that we hear from the angels is that we actually don't need any tools outside of us. This water is not outside of us. It's part of us. So that's an exception. You know, you'll see me using dowsing rods and things, but that's because my ego wants validation. We don't need it. So musical instruments, it's also kind of a caveat there because musical instruments show up as an extension of us. They're an extension of our body. They have their own life. But also, it is something that you don't really need if you can make your own sound. But if you want to use instruments, do it. But know that they are an extension of you. So first and foremost, you find a way to establish or remember your own frequency baseline. Now, how to travel? Once you've got that, that might take a while, so don't rush it, okay? Don't rush it. That's called prepping the field, honestly. Prepping your field or prepping the field. Then you're going to activate a code. This is one way to do it. So many ways. You can use the Grabavoy codes that we talked about last week. A Grabavoy code for traveling is 917604. I'll say it again, 917604. This number holds the codes of completion, creation, divine alignment, heart-centered prosperity, and grounded wealth and potential. That number again is 917604. And if you look online, you can get the whole complete list of the Grabavoy codes, and there might be one that aligns with you more, but this is the one that was pulled out for me. You start to say this number in your mind. You could say it out loud. I prefer to say it out loud. Put your hands out like this, because when your hands are like this, you can rest them on your legs if you want. You are creating a connection with the field. You might imagine that there are Ethernet cords that are attaching to you. So you've already established your own personal field with the water or the sound. You want to take some time to figure out where you're going. Where are you leaping? Be specific about this. It's not wise to say, take me to someplace that's for my best and highest good. That's more for astral projection. Be specific about this. You know where you're going. And I'm already thinking of mine so I can start to feel it in my hands a little bit, almost like I'm starting to hold two water balloons. And what you'll begin to feel is the matrix where we live, what we created here, that grid system will start to move into your fingertips and move into your arms. You are integrating. You're always integrated up here, but you're going to integrate through the arms. Okay. As you integrate, you're going to say the number code 917604. You're going to repeat it. And if you have already spoken where you're going at some point, and I'm sorry, I kind of left that out. You should at some point say, I am going to Vermont. I am going to the next 6 months of my life. I'm going, say your destination point. All you have to do at this point is hold your connection to the matrix and repeat this number code. The number code, it tells all of your electrons in your biofield and in your body. It tells them that we're moving at the same time on purpose. You do this anyway when you're riding a bike, when you're going on a walk. Now you're going to do it sitting still, and you're going to do it with all of your particles inside of you paying attention to the sound of your voice. So this is 917604, 917604, 917604. And you can have a picture of where you're going in your mind. That's helpful, but you don't need to overthink it. You kind of hover above your body while you do this. 917604. I just heard a big crack in my ceiling. 917604, 917604, 917604. You might notice that your hands move a little bit. You might notice some sensations in your head. 917604. And you do this until you notice that your voice starts to get quiet or your body just wants to stop. You chant this number for a few moments, for a few minutes. That part is up to you. And I'm going to tell you, you can't get it wrong. Don't worry about that. After you say this, you can close your hands by just simply folding them, turning them over and putting them in your lap. And then what you will notice is that you have created a quantum connection to wherever you meant to go. Let's be honest here. You are in the Earth grid. So how this shows up has a lot of different components to it. It's a spectrum. When you quantum leap, there are times that you will wake up the next day and your environment will look different. And you will even need to remind yourself, oh, where am I? That happens. You will start to lose time. That happens. Sometimes the shift is more subtle, depending on as you are quantum leaping, because it is a process. When you're holding the grid and you're leaping, there's a process that you're navigating. That number code, the frequency of the code is moving in there like an artist for you. Well, that artistry is navigating conversations, bills, ley lines, weather, and that will play out in a way that you won't need to see it, but it may take time. So there's trust and faith involved in this. But you have already ignited the power of 917604. Now, if you're someone who wants to do this in more of a prayerful way, you can also do this in journaling. You can say, I quantum leap into my new reality where I am, and then you fill in the rest of the page. I'm going to give you that prompt again. I quantum leap into a new reality where I am. And then at the bottom of the page, you would put, I code 917604 as my key, my frequency, and my password. It opens doors that were previously invisible. Here's that again. The code 917604 is my key, my frequency, and my password. It opens doors that were previously invisible. This next one is with breathing. This type of breathing we will call uninterrupted breathing, because you will breathe in and out. Let me demonstrate. With no break for at least 2 minutes. You want to set a timer on your phone. This increases the oxygen to your brain. And with the inhale, 917, exhale 604, 917, 604, 917, 604. This is a quick leap, all right? This moves all of the electrons in your body. It perks them up like they just had a shot of espresso, and this moves you into a quick leap. This is really handy if you need to move something right along. So the breathing is in through the nose, out through the mouth. It's shallow. It's not a diaphragmatic breath. It's shallow. And it's 917 in your mind. 604 as you exhale. Do it sitting down. A key here, do this with your eyes open as you look out a window, because this will give your brain a babysitter. If you close your eyes, you may overthink it. This is not something to bring in your manifesting properties where you are overthinking like how you feel in this space, the details. No, it's simply bringing oxygen to your brain, repeating the number code, and getting all of the particles of you in line, okay? Here's another idea. You're going to speak about the leap. Why would we speak about the leap? Because we're all vibratory beings. I release all timelines where I struggle, or I shrink, or I hustle. I now quantum leap into the timeline of effortless money, soul-aligned work, divine recognition, and peace. But here's how you do it. You say it in a mirror. Say it in a mirror. So the words that I said, those are words that I channeled for this episode, but you can say whatever words you want, but you're going to use a mirror portal, because a mirror, and I would use one that's in your bedroom or in your bathroom, one that's familiar with you. Say to the mirror ahead of time, I'm going to utilize you, please, as a doorway. I would like this doorway to be for my use, no one else's. I'm going to quantum leap with you. And then say the words, okay? You might also use the technique of saying your name, your first name, Rachel, 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 and then clap, because that gets rid of old versions of you. Now, let's look at quantum leaping in a different way. What if you want to quantum leap backwards? What if you want to quantum leap into a part of your life that you want to heal? You know, you can quantum leap back into your childhood, into a marriage. It's really the same process. But instead of going back and living in that time period, you can go back there energetically and do some healing. It's not recommended that you quantum leap back into a past part of you and live there. It is recommended that you can move ahead in timelines, because we're all doing that, and live there, but it's not recommended you go backwards. Why? Because you've already gleaned that wisdom. But the human ego part of you may still be hanging on to some things that you might perceive are blocking you from moving forward. So if there are things in your ego body that are telling you, I can't make that move because I may not have enough money. Well, you might ask yourself, well, where did that come from? It's probably not yours. It probably belongs to a parent or someone else. or something that happened in your childhood. So you can choose to quantum leap back into a certain time period of your life. It could even be a past life, but let's practice being in this life. So to quantum leap back into your childhood, one of the most fun things to do is to look online and find an image or a song or something that reminds you of that time period in your life. Don't make it too emotional. Find a movie or a toy or something. And then as you gaze at that, give your body directions. We're going back to that time. We're going back to that time. And then in meditation, you walk around, as Scott Bakula did. You walk around and you take care of that unfinished business. This may feel like you're making it up, but you're not, because all timelines are energy. We are not made of matter here. We are not. We are made of a hologram, and this is why it works. The electrons we're talking about, it's like music, it's vibration. Use these techniques, utilize them to move forward, to jump ahead. You're not missing anything if you jump ahead, because there's always learning wherever you go. You can use this same thing to converge timelines, and that's what we're going to talk about next week. Next week, we get to talk about timelines, what they mean, how to move them together, and I hope you'll be with me. Quantum leaping is something that we as spirit have always done, and perhaps it's something that got taken from us to take away our worthiness or our sovereignty. You can think about that. But if that feels right, I think it's time to take it back. We deserve it. This is like your blessed passport. You can go anywhere within yourself, anywhere in the universe. It belongs to you. Hello, little fruit fly. You too can quantum leap. It belongs to you. Before I let you go, I would highly encourage you to go see the Backrooms movie. It's scary in its own way, but it has to do with this stuff. And it has to do, I think, with how we create things when we're in struggle. You might have your own outlook of how the Backrooms were created. This movie is by Kane Parsons. It's a fiction movie, but also, like I said, whenever something is in the media, it's disclosure of some kind. And as I was watching it, I just had to think, is this somewhere? Because it did remind me of a lot of offices that I've been in before. Go see it. But until then, find me at rachelcorpus.com, social media, my YouTube page. I love you. Keep that halo straight.
Laugh hard, breathe deep, let the light come in. No perfect questions, no polished disguise, just real.